Hi there. I'm Hajnalka Collado from Earthster, and I'm a partner with many roles. And one of the roles I have is being a product expert. I do a lot of QA and training people how to use Earthster. And that's why you're having this session with me. In case you're the first time joining these monthly events, the event focuses on teaching you how to use Earthster, which is an LCA tool and an online LCA tool. And the coolest part of Earthster is that it's the fastest, most scalable, and most intuitive way to do LCAs. And you'll see it in a moment. Why do I have such brave claims, I would say? And I like to have my sessions interactive. So whenever you feel like you have a question, please post it in the comments in the LinkedIn event. And if you're encountering any issues with the LinkedIn event itself, just reload your page and join again. Since this is a live event, you're seeing the streaming with a tiny bit delay compared to what I'm presenting. And I'll answer questions whenever I'm able to. And if I'm not able to answer them during the session, I'll answer them later. And yeah, that's it for a tiny intro for today. So once again, Earthster is an amazing LCA tool that it's built for you to be able to enjoy your LCA models and to be able to communicate it easily with other stakeholders who might not understand anything about LCA, but should know the environmental impact of your products, projects, whole organization. It's up to you what you want to model with Earthster. And in case you are interested in getting your own subscription, you can go to earthster.org. This is the website. And you click here, for example, get started, get a free trial, whichever, book a meeting with Simo, and he'll get you started. And once you had a meeting with him, probably you'll end up having a meeting with me for Earthster training, more detailed Earthster training. So this is just scratching the surface today. Now, after all this intro, I'm gonna show you Earthster. And today we have a bit different session on purpose. I have many feature updates, but as usual, I will start with a bit of demoing how to use Earthster. But in this time, I'm gonna demo already new features that you might find interesting. And let me put the whole screen like this. I'm gonna zoom in a bit so that you're able to see well. Good, let's get started. So this is how Earthster looks like when you log in with your own user credentials. And what you see here is a workspace that I have called Earthster Training May 2024. I created this just for this session. And there is no models yet in here because we are going to create one together. But as you can see, I have many different workspaces, and you can think workspaces as collaboration zones or folders based on what you can divide your work on. For example, you could have different product categories, different teams, anything you would like, or even, for example, cycles that you have shared with customers or you gotten from your suppliers. It's up to you. You can use unlimited amount of workspaces and organize your work however it feels natural for you. That's about workspaces. And the only thing important to remember that each workspace has its own set of users, and you're able to define that when you're adding a new person. For example, I could add Daniel into my workspace, and I can decide whether I will give him viewer rights only, so he gets to see all my models. He gets to make a copy and modify that copy himself, so make duplicates. Or I want to, for example, give him editor rights, which means he can create models, edit mine. It's truly a good option for doing your LCA work in a collaborative way. So you can do together. You can agree that, okay, you're the one who is working on the production stage and your colleague works on the use phase meanwhile. And a difference between an editor and an admin is that an admin is able to add new members into the workspace and an editor is not. But like this is how easy it is to add members when you're already there, part of your organization. So let's imagine we had a team. Let's get to the juicy part, creating cycles. In Earthster, we call cycles what is an LCA model, what you want to measure the environmental impact of. So just I mentioned before, it's fully flexible. It's up to you how you create the scope of it. Now let's create one. Look, in the workspace, you click on the button, create new cycle. I'm going to create, and today what I'm going to show you is we are going to build a really simple model based on the Dutch CO2 factors. Let me switch this to English. Unfortunately, their website is not in, doesn't want to. Anyway, here where you can see their nice website in Dutch, I have downloaded their database. So this data that I have downloaded only talks about CO2 emission factors. So it's perfect for doing greenhouse gas protocol-based models, but you can use it for other purposes. So this is going to be a simple model just to show you how you could even import a database like this for your own cycles. And actually this one, what I'm demoing now, I will be importing it as an actual database into Earthster, but it's not done yet. I still need to work on it. Let's go back to Earthster. So we are gonna call it CO2 emission factor template. I'm gonna show you now how to create a template-based LCA that you will be able to replicate and create many variations with just a simple Excel file. We'll choose the whole scope. We say that we do not start with a template, we just turn it off and we click next. Now, something special here you might notice already compared to other tools if you have been using is that we have two units that you can define your cycles based on. One thing we call production amount, so production unit, and a functional unit. And it's super cool that you're able to use both at the same time. So for example, you could model a phone. It would be one phone, and the functional unit of it is 500 charge cycles. So, and that way you're able to better compare your products with each other. But now we are just gonna, keep it simple, I'm gonna keep it one unit. We take out the functional unit. These you can add later on or add more. We create the cycle. Starts empty. So of course, we haven't added any data yet. And as you can see that in Earthster, we divide the cycle stages, so the life cycle stages of any product or anything you're modeling, to three main stages. Production, which is you're supposed to add there any inputs and outputs related to creating your product. Then distribution is getting the ready-made product to your customers or to the next suppliers, wherever you need to get it to. And use phase is when the final product is being used by the final consumer, client, and in there you're supposed to add also the waste management. And the reason why we combine that with is because waste management is something that you might ideally say that your product needs to be recycled, you're putting it in the packaging, but ultimately, who's going to decide what happens with that product is who is using it. That's why we consider that it belongs naturally to the use phase. But thanks to bundles, you're able to break down any of the stages to as many bits and pieces as you want. So what is a bundle? A bundle is a group of inputs. So for example, now I'm going to add a bundle for this particular case. So let's check on our CO2 emissions. What do they want us to add in their models? I do not understand Dutch, but I've been translating this before a bit to English. Here what you can see is there is So fuel E10 type blend. It's based on liters, and here are the emission factors. And this is what I was showing you a moment ago, that they have divided their data, whatever they have gathered based on different stages related to where the emissions are happening. And let me see exactly English. Now there's some information here. Let's zoom in. So this one, we're going to create these inputs just like in the Excel file that I was showing you, as bundles or as custom processes. And the total amount will be the total amount of cycle. Let's do that. So we are going to take it from here. TTW. We create an actual, wait, what have I done? I already created a bundle. I'm going to take that back. We are going to create a custom process instead. A custom process is similar to a bundle, but it's able to calculate things. As you can see, a bundle just groups in together inputs, and a custom process, you're able to apply a factor to it. And since we are going to add the emission factors, since that database only handles CO2, we are going to use exchanges with nature. Look, we are going to call this, what was it? Sorry, I do not remember this database yet. TTW. So we call this TTW, all information per one unit. And I'm going to show you, this is a trick why I'm doing it like this. Look, so the TTW, we take this value and add it in here as an exchange. You click here, add new. You look up the exchange, and in this case, it's CO2 emission factors. So we are going to write CO2. You can also write carbon dioxide. And the search will suggest you, based on your search term you added here, possible exchanges for your model. And here you can see that there's many exchanges that corresponds to my search term. And what's important to do when you're adding exchanges or inputs to your cycle is to choose the right type of, category in a way, so that whether it's an emission to air or a resource to air. And in this case, it's an emission to air, and it's a typical one, this one, carbon dioxide emission to air. We leave it unspecified because it's emissions in general. We do not know. You click here, add exchange, and it's this simple. And what we are going to, since this is a custom process, what we're going to do is we're going to say 1 kilo here. The custom process, we are going to set up that all information is per 1 kilo of CO2 EQ, like this. And as you can see, here it is. And here is the value, what we add in here. Earthster works with both commas and dots. Doesn't matter which one you use, the system recognizes. The only thing is don't mix and match. Like inside, you can't do this, for example. Like after you have put a dot, that means that's the decimal. If you use the commas, that's the decimal. So you can't mix them. Okay, so look, now we have one custom process. We have added this part. Now we're going to add the other one the same way. And this is a trick that you can use. This custom process is already ready, set up. The other one needs to become exactly like this. So we're going to duplicate it. Look, here you have the option to duplicate. It takes the exact copy what we had. So now we have to update it. I already copy pasted the value. Look, we change the value and then we rename it because this is called WTT. So we are going to change the name, WTT, like this. And the exchange is still the same, carbon dioxide. We have the value. And look, we have here. Good. Now let me check that we have added the Inputs correctly, 1 kilo. Output, emission to air. Yes. Good. Good. And look, exactly. I was a bit confused that why is it not giving me any emission or any impacts? And the reason is simple. Earthster remembers the last impact category that you've been viewing your cycles with, and the last one I was checking out was water use. So from a water use perspective, CO2 doesn't have any impact. But if we put it to climate change, suddenly you see the impact. And look, this is the total amount, 2.82, corresponds to what it says here. Then we have broken down to the stages how this database is specifying it. And what we are going to do, since here it specifies the input itself, this is in liters. So we're going to go and change the scale unit to say, instead of 1 unit, we say 1 liter. So 1 liter of gasoline has this environmental impact based on the Dutch CO2 emission factors. What's super important to remember in this model that I'm creating is that this takes in account only the CO2. So of course, producing and using the gasoline has other environmental impacts, all sorts of impacts on human health and all those things, but this model will not take that in account. So this particular cycle that I'm building will be only good for carbon accounting or greenhouse gas protocol type of reports. But anyway, you can use it. So you're able to create such models with the help of exchanges. Okay, so simple model so far. And let me see, looks like I have already some comments. Yes, I'm saying hi everyone, and I'm noticing the good. Good. I'm happy to see both of you here, Bogdan and Jan. Okay, so I wanted to show you how to replicate cycles. So once again, this is a super simple one. In your models, you would have multiple bundles, custom processes nested under each other, and many more things. But this database is simple. What we are going to do is replicate this cycle to be able to add all this data without copy pasting. I'll show you how to do it. When you want to replicate your cycle, and actually for that type of actions, you need a corporate license. Or if you have a lower plan, reach out to us and we might be able to offer it for you. Depends. Anyway, look. We have here our 2 custom processes. The way the replicator works is you need to add into the info section of the input that you want to be able to replicate, like update with an Excel file, you add a hashtag. Look. For example, this we just call straight away the same as the input itself. TTW. So hashtag and whatever you want to call it. And when we create our Excel file, based on this value will be updated. So since I put the hashtag on the custom process level, it updates this value and leaves this as it is. So let's do that. We go in here. We add the same thing. And this is template-based modeling. So kind of like when you're modeling this style, you have to think that how would you model a generic cycle of many of your products? For example, you have different type of equipment and all of them have really similar components, like 3 electrical components, but they vary a bit. So you would create all those as separate bundles or custom processes and replicate that as a result. Okay, we have these two. Let me see. What else would we have to hashtag here? I would say that's it. This is gonna be the name of the cycle. Those are the values. This we could add the information in here, but I think we are not gonna do that this time. We're gonna keep it simple and replicate it. Look, when you go to the documentation, you'll find there a lot of help. You click here and you say replicate. It has a search function the same way as in Earthster. This is an external tool, but still you click here and you read the instructions that how do you replicate in bulk. And now the juicy part comes here. This is how simple the replicator is. You need to create a CSV file that has one column for name. This is gonna be the name of the cycle and the hashtags you want to update the values of. So let's do that. I'm gonna create it here. I have another one. Okay, so our instruction says start with name. We take that. We put here, no, this one. We put here the name. No, let's do it like that. Because I want to do it. Let's stop. Name. Then we had the hashtag WTD. Let's do it in the same order as our file is. So TTW is the first one. We move this here. And here, TTW. And here you could have endless amounts of values, and not every cycle has to have that. And what we have to do is a bit of Excel moving data around. So what I'm going to do now is just copy paste, for example, this part like this. We take this and turn it into an importer thing. Let me just paste it here so that you see what we'll do. Paste values only. I'm going to join the names. Look, I'm going to join this. Oops, not like this. This is a bit of a Excel spreadsheet help. Okay, joining this cell called benzene with this one, just to have it both in there. And then that's it. That's going to be the name of the cycle. That's how it looks. Then we take the values. Let me see. So these were, just in case I copied these things, we know what we copy paste. Here, exactly. So look, the TTV, we take all this information. You could also use the lookup function. And this I'm just gonna do like this. Look, we have some spreadsheet magic. So what I'm about to import into Earthster, or actually replicate in bulk, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cycles. And we could take the whole database this simply. It's gonna create a cycle, update the value with the hashtag this, update the value with this. Let's do that. So we take this. Actually, no, I was thinking with the copy paster. Look, I'm gonna copy and paste values only so that nothing gets destroyed. You have to empty the rest of the thing. So let's just reset everything. You export your file as a CSV. Look, we put it download as a CSV file. If you're using Excel, really soon you will be able to use straight away an Excel file, but not yet. So at this point, export it as a CSV. Then when you have that, you have it downloaded. What you do is in settings. Oh yeah, this is something in case you're watching the first time. Earthster has 2 different areas within a cycle where you find most of the functions. On the left side, in front of the name of it, you have many functionalities to choose from. And depending on your license, you might see it differently than I do. Then on the left side, when you open any of the stage or you click on any of the circles twice, it opens what we call the drawer. And in here is where you add your inputs and decide that whether something is an input, or you click on it and this is suddenly now an output, and all those things. You do it from here. And look, all the menu options are either marked as with these hamburger menus, and you see here, for example, the main actions that most users need, and there are some actions under the info section here. The info section of a custom process, next to done editing, there's a drop-down menu that you get other actions that are less common but needed in many cases. And here you can see the copy paste that I will show you in a moment. But let's replicate first. The replicator you'll find on the left side in the main menu. You go to settings. Next to export cycle, if you have this feature, you see the option of replicate in bulk. You click here. We drag in there our file. Let me see, where do I find my file? It's in my downloads, like this. You can also click to search what you're looking for, or you just drag and click upload and replicate. And it's telling me that it's being processed. And look, it has been replicated successfully. This easy it was to create 9 cycles. Now I'm still inside the template. And look, when you click on the Earthster logo, it takes you back to your workspace where you've been before. And look, all our new cycles, exactly how we created our template. For example, let's open this one. Look, the same information, updated values. Let's see, diesel, fossil. It's this one. Here are the values, nicely updated. And now I have a cycle that I can use in my models wherever. And this is something that I'm going to create as a database. So when you're adding inputs to your models, for example, look, when you add, you're going to look up for diesel and it's going to show up here as an actual database. And now you can see already that I'm able to find it myself. So you are able to create only for yourself, or if you've gone through all this, you have done something like this, what you can also decide is to share it publicly with all the Earthster users. And for that to do, what you have to do, it's in the sharing settings. To be able to share something, you need to issue first a release. A release is, it's like a version of your model. So think of your cycle as a Word document, and the release is the PDF. And you do that for making sure that the data, what you're sharing with others, is that what you want to share. So you're always giving the PDF to your clients, not the Word document. So it's like you're saying, here's my PDF. So we are going to say issue a release, and then we get to decide that if this cycle, if I want to be sharing everyone, look, I just say all levels. So anyone. So now, for example, if you log into Earthster and you're able to find this cycle, I can decide to share it with less levels. Really awesome functionality that if you, for example, have created an LCA for your product and want to share it, but there's some confidential data that you're like, nah, this is not for everyone. I want people to know the environmental impact, but not everything. What you do is you decide that, okay, for example, level 1, all the stages, which would mean that whoever would be able to see the difference between the stages. So here, the total amount of the different stages, they can see it, but they wouldn't be able to peek into the next level. What's in it? Awesome feature. So like this, for example, all level. And then when you get the link to share, the cool part is that you can add it even to your sustainability reporting. Look what happens. If I start now a new incognito window, look, I copy the link, I paste it here, so I'm not logged in this browser. I click enter, and ta-da! I get to see the whole thing. So really, really awesome way to create trust with your stakeholders or whoever you want to share it with. They get to see the environmental results in an interactive way, and it's a totally different thing than when you're sharing a 10-page or 50-page LCA report versus something visual that you're like, ooh, here is the impacts coming from. Great. Let's go back. So let me close this tab. Good. Now we're back in Earthster. So this is how you replicate a cycle. You use hashtags to the values that you want to be updated in the different versions, like this. And to do that, what all you need is just a simple spreadsheet where you put all the hashtags you want, all the cycles you want to create. It does it for you. This list could have 1,000 inputs and it will still do it really fast for you. And this same file can be used for bulk updates. So now that we have here all these files, imagine that next year, when there's new versions and all the inputs are the same, I would want to update it. So I don't want to keep the old data. It's time to update. What would happen? You do the same thing. You update your list, you change the values here, and take the same list, and you say update in batch. I can show you. So here we have, it's the same thing what happens. You click here, update in batch, you take the file, and the updater, the way it works is, looks for a matching cycle name and a matching hashtag, and it updates all those. Anything for example, in your cycle, you might have 10 other hashtags. It's going to ignore them. It's going to be like, okay, I'm not touching that. Same thing. You might have other cycles that are in your workspace. It's just going to jump over them. So it changes based on the cycle name and the hashtag, and it updates them for you. Amazing feature for working more productively. So that's what we call, for example, LCAs at scale. You create one model that applies to most of your products, and you just use Excel magic. Many of our users been actually liking it. Any questions related to this? I told you, this time we have a totally different training session than usually. But looks like I don't have any questions. Whenever the questions come, just please say. Okay, let's go back to Earthster. So we have created a bunch of cycles, simple ones. This works the same way if it would be a complex one. Then another main feature that I want to show you today is copy pasting. That's my favorite feature of Earthster. It's so amazing. You're able to copy paste any parts of your, like for example, from other cycles. Let's go, for example, in my demos. I'm gonna copy paste from here something, fruit production. I'm gonna take the whole thing. I need to slow down. So I went into another cycle that I have, and I want to copy paste this time a whole bundle. I go to the info tab of it here. In the bottom, on the drop-down menu, I click there and I say copy to clipboard, like this. And then I decide where to paste it. So I can paste this, what I just copied, in this same model, in another one. So we go back to the training one. Here, where is my training one? I have too many. Here, my Earthster training. This one. Let's say we copy paste it into our template. We're going to destroy this one. Doesn't matter. In the stage or bundle or any input where you want to paste the data, you go to the info part of it. So always on the info. Then drop down again, paste from clipboard. Look what's going to happen. Whatever I had in that model, it's now in here. All the different pieces, and with the values, it's in there. The only thing it doesn't copy is the formulas. So that model that I pasted from had applied parameters and calculations, and that the copy paste doesn't take. At least not at the moment. That I'm not sure if it's if that will change in the future or not. It just remember that it doesn't take that. Now, easy. I pasted the whole section. So really useful when you have modeled already something and you're like, wow, I would really want to use this somewhere else. Copy and just put it somewhere else. Another thing you can do is what I wanted to show you for the copy pasting is look what happens if you paste the data. It's an empty spreadsheet. I paste it. This is how the data looks like. This is for copy pasting the most important part. This is the header, and this is how it needs to look like. It actually has to be with lowercase letters. So the first row is the type. B refers to bundle, and F is flow. Then the name of the product itself, so that's the name of the process or the bundle. The value, what you want to add in there, the unit that it uses. So look, if you go here, that's the unit. So that's the value, name, unit, and this is a flow process. And this is the reference inside Earthster for that particular EcoInvent process that I'm using. What's important to remember if you want to paste data through the Excel sheet is the ID number has to be consecutive. So for example, we are gonna copy this row like this. I'm gonna say that this is banana production. Banana production. We are gonna say 5 kilos of banana. I don't know the reference ID of it, so I just know that I want to paste data. I know it's banana, but nothing else, like this. Good. And then this needs to be now 5. Parent means which level it belongs to. This is a bundle, so that's level 1. And all these inputs belong to level 1. So you could have level 2, different bundles together. And look what happens if I copy paste this. You have to mark the whole thing, like what you pasted in there, you have to copy the same thing. Look, I copy, then I go to the cycle. Let's put it somewhere else. Let's put it in our use phase, like this. Info tab, paste from clipboard, and look what happens now. Now it's a bit different because I pasted data in there that didn't have a mapping. And we have an amazing system that suggests you the different inputs based on what you have added in as the name for you. So because I said banana production, it says, in the database, there's something called banana production, and you could check it like the actual cycle summary. You can click here. It opens for you what it's suggesting. And if you like it, you just say paste and import. And if you want to change, you click here and you say, okay, yeah, it's Colombian bananas. You click select mapping, it changes, and you say paste and import. It takes everything else that already had the reference, and now it added for us a banana production with 5 kilos. Ta-da! I love copy paste. And you can use this same thing for importing even inventories. Let's say you've gotten an LCA report from your client and the only thing you've gotten is their inventory. You do the same thing. You have to create this style of the structure where like in your spreadsheet, doesn't matter if it's Excel, Google, whichever you're using. And let me show you. For example, here's a model with inventory. This is an export from Earthster, but it could be from anywhere else. What's important when you want to import inventories to know the name of the exchange? You should know the context. So is it a resource? Is it an emission? And all those things. It's better for the mapping. The unit of it and the value. And look, we are gonna do some Excel magic again. Here in this case, if I would be importing this from an actual Earthster cycle, I would use the IDs. But when you're importing from other sources, for example, LCI data from somewhere else, don't use the reference IDs because it's specific to the database or to the tool. It's not going to match what's in Earthster. So you take this part. Let's say, for example, this one. I'm just going to take these, copy. We are going to create the right structure for it. I'm just going to add here. So look, name. The header needs to be the same. So we take this header. We know what we're going to put already. Look, I'm actually going to take it like this. So here, I'm going to add a bundle. I'm going to say inventory import. That's going to be the name of the bundle. It has one. Bundles don't have units. Doesn't have a reference either. It's just going to create it. It's the level 1 and geography this time Spain. Could be something else. Doesn't matter. Now I'm going to start taking this data. Actually, let me move it a bit lower because there's a lot of data. Look, we take the name. All this is going to go into the name field. Then the value into the value field. And of course, you can do this with VLOOKUP or anything like that, whatever you prefer. We take this to the unit here. The reference, we leave it open. This one is, this time we are not adding into the file, but I'll show you a trick what you can do in a moment. So that I'm just having there for myself to know what they are. Let's put it a bit lower. We delete this. Look what's going to happen. So we take this inventory. Exactly. One thing, as you can see, I was about to do the mistake that would have not worked. I was missing the type of the input that I'm adding. Exchanges are marked with E. Exchange. It makes sense. Here, you just say exchange. All of them are exchange. And these are consecutive numbers. We say like this, nicely added. And all these go into one, so level 1, into the bundle. Because I want to have them all in the same bundle. That's it. Ready. We take this, copy, and we stick it into Earthster. Look, where do we put it? Let's put it into production. We are gonna say inside production, info, here. Paste on clipboard. Look. It started suggesting me mapping for whatever it was finding. And now my job is to go through that. Okay, by default, it always suggests emission to air. So it's like, oh, okay, I don't want that. Now what I can do, since I have the data, look, we can do some magic. Again, we're going to use the join feature of the doing this. So look. I'm going to add it here. Look, we are going to say join. Then, now what's important? When, I don't know how it's called in Excel spreadsheet, you create a join. So you're joining two cells together to create one way of like how you want it to be, the two texts together. And we need to divide the text based on, so we have a space at, not that one, at space in quotation marks, because that's what's going to be added in between, comma, and then we say, okay, carbon dioxide, comma, resource to air. You close the brackets here. Autofill, yes, perfect. We take this, copy. We're going to say paste it here as paste special. Edit, paste special, values only. Look what happened. So we added those. We can now delete all these things. We don't need them anymore. We take the same. Remember to paste copy everything like this. Copy. Go in here. We are going to go back. We're going to say that, let's do it again. In here, production, info, paste from clipboard. Look, now it's already suggesting the right resources for me. And I'm like, okay, yes, that's great. That's what I want. Everything is perfect. And you say paste and import. And it does it for you. Look, ta-da! It's amazing. I love it. So you can use copy pasting for creating models super fast. So kind of like you are able to import from whatever you want with the copy paste function. Look, all the different exchanges in the right formats, right? The ones I want. And of course, you should double check it just in case. That because when you're mapping, the system is guessing what you're looking for and it doesn't always get it right. So make sure you check it. Okay, we have 15 minutes left. Any questions so far? These are the two new awesome features that we have. The copy paste, everyone has access to it. Regardless of your subscription type, you're able to use it. And the bulk features, so the replicator and bulk updates, you need at least a corporate license for it. And let's see, Carl is asking, so you can also make multi-level models? That's an interesting question. I think the answer is yes. I'm not sure what you mean with multi-levels. I think, let me guess. So if we go to production, what I could be doing here, look, inside custom process, I add another bundle and I add in there random inputs. There's the banana production. And then I could continue further and in here add a custom process. And you can nest it longer and longer and longer and create a huge model. So there's no limitations on how many levels you can add. And exactly, so Carl is saying that meaning parent with child, yes, you can do the same thing. So look, for example, all this stuff that now I added, there's another bundle, there's another custom process in here. Let's add here at least one input. We add again another banana. Let's add that one. Anything we add. Oh yeah, that's one thing that I wanted to show you also in case you're watching the first time. So in Earthster, the calculations are basically instant. Look what happens if I change it to 10 kilos. Here, straight away calculated, updated the view, and it's super fast. So you're able to use Earthster for eco design, for playing around with data. You're like, what happens if I put this? What happens if I put that? Super fast and comfortable to use. Now, let me show you. We have there many levels, so you can also do it checking it like this. You can just scroll further, and look, now when this appears, it says explore. This is a button for exploring the database itself. So if I click here, now it's going to fetch all the inputs that EcoInvent has added for creating. There is a lot of inputs in banana production. And yeah, that's surprisingly many inputs, but you can see that the biggest impact is coming from market irrigation. Even that, you can explore further and explore. And that's also, for example, this exploring function is super useful for deciding that is this data set better or the other one. You can just walk through it visually to be able to decide better. Look what happens. So we take this, we open the drawer, go to the info, copy the whole thing. And now if I paste this in here, this is, this is simpler than I thought. There's not, because I didn't add more. But as you can see, there's different parents. Here it says which one belongs where, and then it would create based on that. And one thing to remember with the copy paste, if you would ever need to paste a whole production, like all these three, either you can do it one by one, but imagine you have there 30 different bundles and custom processes, and you're like, no, I don't want to do it one by one. What you do is create a new bundle. This is a trick. There will be later on a feature for this, but now you need to use this trick. You say production stage, like this. you go back where your inputs are. When you hover over a row, this appears. You're able to select for bulk actions. Look, I select all these things and I say that, okay, move all of this. I could duplicate all of them or delete all of them. But I want to move all of this under my bundle called production stage. It puts them nicely there. Look, everything is now here. And now I can say, copy everything. Thank you. And then paste it wherever you want. Now look, this is how the data looks like. Now this is a bit more complex. And in Earthster, we can just stick it somewhere else. We're going to close this. We're going to put it into use phase. Here, info, paste. Takes a moment while it's building the model. And ta-da! Here's our whole production stage with everything we have added in there. Good. Yep, exactly. Looks like I answered the question. Let me see. A bit less than 10 minutes. So I need to check my cheat sheets because we had so many amazing little improvements, but there's a lot of them, like small improvements. Simple thing, but some of you might be excited about it. Now you're able to delete a workspace. The only thing you have to do before is empty it totally. So you have to either move the cycles out or delete them. Like this, you're able to delete them one by one, move them somewhere else. You can create copies, export the results, or you can mark select all and click here and delete all. And I'm not going to do that. I don't want to destroy these, but probably after my session, I could do that. That's a tiny feature. Then let me see. Yeah, all these are one of the most important things, and I'm clearly leaving it to the last moments. Let's go back to this template. We have one new impact category. For viewing other impact, so Earthster comes by default with 5 impact categories from Recipe 2016. And if you need more information on it, you go to documentation, you look up Recipe, and then you find all the different ones that we have inside Earthster. Look, here it explains everything. These are the main 5 ones, and we have all the others available. Let me show you how to view them. So go back to Earthster. So these are the main 5, and those are always super snappy. You just change to someone, your values update, and you see it in those. The system remembers whichever you're using, it's going to show you next time you open the cycle. But when you have a full appointment license, you have the option Other. You click here, and you have all the different impact methods available. And this is our newest one, the what's the name of it? I keep on forgetting. That's Cumulative Energy Demand. Let me show you. So we take that one, you click on it, then you choose the actual category that you want to see. For example, I want to see renewable biomass-based energy. You click View Impact. This takes a moment. This was super fast at this time. Some of the impact categories takes longer to calculate. So if it doesn't open straight away, just have patience. It always opens it in the new tab. So make sure you allow your browsers for Earthster to open new tabs. Otherwise, you won't see the impact. And the biggest difference now with this view and here is that, look, if I open now the drawer, I see my own cycle in view mode, what we call. So I cannot edit here the values. I see all the impacts, and this is for performance reasons. So if you need to edit anything, you go back to the normal views, edit there your cycles, and you can open it again. And this is how simple you view any impact category we have in Earthster. And this is, look, the different, we can use another one. So that was the biomass. I'm curious what we have. Wind, solar, and geothermal. Let's see. And it opens a new tab and it looks different. different. So this is a new impact category. That's one of the things. And now, as you can see, I'm back to my normal view. We have a new database and new processes. And now I'm not going to look for banana production. I'm going to look for NETL. Look, NETL. And Earthster's process search, when you're searching for inputs, you can add multiple keywords and you use the filters to narrow down what you're looking for. And look, for example, there is a cycle called NETL. I see here everything that my user has access to. So I see all the cycles created by our organization and the different databases. Here in the scope selector, you select that what you really want to see. Do you want to see only your cycles, everything available in Earthster, or you just leave it like this? You can prioritize geography. So you say, okay, show me everything in Europe. Let's see, you write Europe like this. And then it reorders if it thinks that it's relevant and clearly says, no, this is the order for this search results. But now what's interesting is you can use any of these inputs as filters. Look, I could now mark that show me only energy. I click here the check mark sign like this. And now I see only inputs with energy. I can say that no, take it out, take it back, and you can decide. And this case, because I want to show you the new database, you can also mark that show me this database. You put it like this, then you take out the search term, and then you see every single input, what is in that database. And since this is a tiny one, only 93 inputs, but still, this is how you would do it. For example, you could select show me eco invent or don't show me eco invent. I want to see other things. And for example, the NETL database is needed for certain type of reporting in the US. Here is, for example, their website. There's some more information inside the cycles. And usually those who need NETL, they know what it is. I don't know myself more about it, except that it's a cool new database that you can use. Let me go, for example, here. Whenever you are adding inputs in Earthster, always read the cycle summary. Here, this info button, you click here, you see the data provided by the database provider. So in this case, it's from NETL. This is what they said that is relevant for you as a user to know about the data. You can see most information, and then you can see that, okay, oh, show me how it looks. I want to see this before I choose. You click here. Now, what you see in front of you, this is the data set itself. Let's see what's in it. There's only one input, and that's it. This is a simple one, and some of them are bigger. Really useful for figuring out, for example, if EcoInvent has transportation in their market processes or not. And when you are saying that, okay, this is exactly what I'm looking for, you can also add it from here. This is a new thing. You can click here, straight away add it to your model, and you say that we are having this 2.5. It recalculates. You can keep here all the assumptions. You're able to see it again later on, and you can rename however you want. Rename cycle. You click out, everything is saved. And renaming the cycle, I really recommend doing it for when you have stakeholders that are reading your model. So instead of saying electricity low voltage, it just says electricity from the grid, or using the terminology that either your colleagues or your customers are used to hearing. It makes your cycle becomes like a story. It tells a story of what information you are seeing, and always do that. Rename them. Use a lot of bundles, use custom processes. The more you manage to create smart sections for yourself, the easier for those who need to look into your cycle that what's in it. And our hour is up. I hope you found this useful. There's a lot of cool new little improvements that has happened since the last month. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat. You can also contact us in our in-app chat. You click here, chat with us. You send a message, either you click here or you go to your own messages and you're able to see existing ones. And now you're even able to report bugs from the app. So it opens a Google form. And that's it for today. Thank you all for joining and see you next time in about a month.